Hello, my name is David C. and I am the CEO and Technical Director at Subsurface Games. This is Survive, our zombie survival shooter that is set in an unlimited procedural open world. I have been getting some questions lately about what engine we are using for the game, and the answer to that is we are developing our own engine completely from scratch. This is a major update to the engine and the game. The first thing you will probably notice is that the game now has fancy wind-blown trees and grass. We have licensed a middleware called SpeedTree for all of the vegetation rendering. This is the same middleware that is used in Battlefield 3, Halo 4, Grand Theft Auto 4, the Unreal Engine, as well as many other AAA games and game engines. Another thing you might notice is that I fixed the animation parser so that now the gun and the arm animations are loaded correctly. I also did some simple weapon turn, idle, walk, and aim down the sights procedural animations so that the gun feels a lot more realistic. The next thing you probably noticed is that the engine now supports true 3D sound effects and music. Just like when the particle system uses a different effect when you shoot a different material, the sound system uses the same materials to play a different walking sound depending on what the player is standing on. The fire uses this system to play a 3D fire sound, so as you get closer to the fire, the sound gets louder and louder, and depending on where the fire is relative to your direction, it will play out of the left or the right speakers. This 3D positional audio system will play a big part in the feel of the game. You'll be able to hear distant screams, police sirens, and gunshots. You'll be able to hide from zombies based on the sounds they make, and zombies and survivor NPC AI will react to all of the sounds that you make. This is Parallax Occlusion Mapping, a very efficient way to add depth to a texture. If I enable wireframe, then you can see that this box is actually just a box, and there is no tessellation under here, it's just Parallax Occlusion Mapping adding all of this depth. The engine now has support for Cascaded Shadow Maps. The Cascaded Shadow Maps partition the world into a number of cascades and gives each one a shadow map. These cascades get larger and larger as they get further from the camera, so that the entire world gets shadows, but the shadows are much nicer near the camera because the cascades are smaller and the shadow maps are stretched over the world less. Now I can go into a config file and change the zoom distance when aiming down the sights to something that might be used for a sniper to show the cascaded shadow maps in action. As I zoom in and fly closer to distant shadows, you can see the shadows get sharper and sharper as I get closer. Each one of these colored partitions represents a different cascade and a different shadow map. SpeedTree uses a very sophisticated level of detail system so that many near and far trees can be rendered very efficiently. The distant trees are rendered as completely flat, textured, 360-degree billboards that have accurate normals so they are lit correctly. As I fly closer to a distant tree, you can see the billboard seamlessly transition from a flat quad into a full 3D tree. I also improved the day-night cycles a little bit by making everything darker at night and adding some lights that turn on at night only. One massive change to the engine that you have probably not noticed is that now it is using a deferred renderer. One big advantage of this is that the engine can now render a huge number of dynamic lights very efficiently. Right now it is being used by Crytek 3, Unreal Engine 4, Frostbite 2, and many other games and game engines. This rendering technique is quickly becoming the standard for high quality graphics in games. This change is not really noticeable yet, other than all of the night lights, but it will allow for a huge number of effects to be added to the game. These effects include SSAO, HDR rendering, bloom, per pixel lens flares, and soft particles, just to name a few. This is a preview of what I'm working on now. Each one of these zombies has a fully animated skeleton, where each bone has a physics rigid body attached. What this means is that they interact fully with the physics environment, and that I can shoot each one of their individual body parts. This is a visualization of the physics rigid bodies that are attached to each bone. Right now, the rigid bodies are boxes, and their size is just an approximation based off the vertices attached to each bone. But later they will be capsules and authored in our engine editor for a tighter fit and a more accurate physics representation. You can see when I drop some boxes around the zombies' feet that when they walk, they kick the boxes forward. This is just the beginning. Right now I am working on giving these zombies an AI and letting them walk around the world. I am also giving them procedural hit reactions and ragdolls, so that they react correctly and give great visual feedback when they are shot. That's it for this video, and thanks for watching. You can follow the development blog and pre-order Survive at subsurfacegames.com. You can get more frequent development news by liking our Facebook page at facebook.com/subsurfacegames, and you can follow me on Twitter at subsurfacegames.